Chess friends, I hope you are doing well. Today, I have Houdini Chess AI, the oldest chess engine, or you could call it the chess grandfather, since it was published in 1980. I played against it with the newest version, which has surpassed a 3900 ELO rating, and it's spectacular to feature Houdini on my chess channel. This game is quite romantic and prophylactic because I discovered a new chess opening against it, so, let's get started without wasting any time. I began the game with knight c3. He responded with d5, and I played e4, employing a new opening. Of course, d4 could have been played, then after knight e2, attacking the pawn, followed by e5 and knight g3, I could consider knight f3, followed by bishop c2 and c4. From black's perspective, if he plays knight c6, you can go with bishop e5, and all these moves are possible in the game, but in our actual game, instead of playing d4, Houdini, as the grandfather, played another move, c6, I responded with f4, a crucial move. And you will soon understand why I played it. A few moves later, I played knight f2, and now you begin to see why I made this move. After playing knight f3, it becomes quite evident that I wanted to develop the bishop, play b3, and consider bishop b2 as well. The bishop moves out, d4 follows, and then knight d7, and the grandfather wants to play c5, I played bishop d3, gaining access to the diagonal where c3 or c4 could be played, and queen c2 could jointly attack the kingside. It's uncertain where Houdini will castle, short or long, regardless. I'll castle short to access the f5 square, and I'm also considering h3 g4, and g5. Later, I played c4, threatening c5, and he wasted a move by retreating his knight. Houdini's structure is compromised, and his pieces are paralyzed, so I decided to play a prophylactic move to strengthen my opening. Can you guess what I played? Yes, you're right, I played g4. This is called the g4 opening strategy, allowing me to play g5 and directly attack the kingside. Of course, some players might think of h6, but I would bring my queen to e2 and then consider g5. You can see the knight is under attack, and after exchanges, knight h5 follows. Then, you can play g6, supported by the bishop, and the pawn on e6 is also under attack by the queen. Many players, including you, might consider queen e7 to protect the pawns. But that doesn't matter because I can bring my knight to g5, go my knight, show your real force. f6 doesn't matter, as the knight can land in the opponent's territory on f7, creating a precarious situation for the rook. And where can the rook go? Simultaneously, your knight on h5 will be hanging there. I can launch a missile toward the knight, and the game will be destroyed. Going back, we discovered that playing h6 is a very bad choice. That's why we have b5 followed by c5, and finally, I played g5, the knight comes to the center, and we have knight e5. Putting pressure on the knight, some players, including Levy, might consider knight takes e5, but that's a bad move. After exchanges, my pawn structure will be powerful, and it will be challenging for you to develop your pieces. So in the actual position, how do we consider a bishop check, and how do we consider bishop e7? You can see the vulnerability around the queenside. His pieces are paralyzed, the bishop has only one open diagonal, and the knights are stuck. Considering these vulnerabilities, because Houdini is like a grandfather whose muscles are weak, he needs vitamins and sunglasses to see the pieces. He retreats his knight to f8, and joins it on f5 and g6 squares. My rook moves to g4, protecting these pawns, and h5 may follow. You cannot capture my e5 knight because it is well protected. The knight moves back, and I finally consider h5, and you can see my pawns progressing. It's very complicated for him to maintain his position with so little space. Later, I considered rook e1, gaining access to the file. At this point, many players might consider queen to e7, because chess players think differently. They might think of long castling, then after h6, long castling, and all the exchanges occur. Knight c3 followed by knight takes d5 can arrive in the game. At this point, you can observe the vulnerabilities that will appear on the queen side. If you capture the knight with the pawn, c6 can arrive to attack the bishop, so, one move ago, if you dared to capture the knight with your rook, then I would consider bishop e4, forcing the rook to move back, after knight takes pawn, forking the pieces, while biting a chocolate, you would have to capture it, and after the capture, the pawn on b5 would be under attack by two pieces, the black king would face vulnerabilities and might ask, why did you settle me on the queen side? I am in danger now, that's the weakness that will appear on the queen side, along with the rook on c1. Going back to the position, we discovered that playing queen e7 to long castle, would be a very bad choice, that's why we have the short side castle. Grandfather, with his stick, tries to attack with b4, and after the king moves and the rook joins the g1 file, the grandfather sits in the corner. A few moves later, I considered g6, a marvelous move that attacks these pawns. Some players, even masters, might consider h6, but that would be a vulnerable move. I could play knight d6. And after exchanges, knight takes d6 would follow. I could even consider g takes f7 with the idea of threatening knight g6, which forks your entire family. Your whole family will be forked up by my knight. Now you will see the vulnerabilities while the grandfather sits in the corner of the room. Going back to the position, we discovered that playing h6 was a very bad choice, that's why the grandfather played f6, his sunglasses slipped from his eyes, and he saw the f1 square as h1, he mistakenly played the best move. Anyway, you can see, as I draw my arrows, how black is going to be under attack from my bishop. Look, the queen can also arrive on the g5 square, so, I played a very crucial move here. Can you guess what I played? Try to use your 69 IQ brain. I played h6, a damn strong move. Of course, you cannot capture the pawn on h6 right away because I can play knight d6, followed by f takes e5, then I can check, and after the capture, bishop h4 will arrive. In a few moves, I will capture the knight, attacking both the queen and the pawn on h7, the Houdini grandfather will lose his stick and the game will be over. So, let me share an inspirational quote in sudden with you. You are not alone in this world. There are people who love you, support you, and believe in you. Lean on them when you need to and never be afraid to ask for help. Going back to the position, capturing the pawn is a very bad choice. That's why, if you dare to capture the pawn on g6, I can easily take it back with my knight, forking your family again. So, back to the position, these two pawns cannot be captured. Houdini then says to me, hey, my grandson Stockfish, you may be the strongest chess player of the new generation, but I was a very strong player in mine. You are not capable of defeating me. Let me capture your knight. And after he captured it, he also took the pawn on h6, so far, so good. Grandfather played a very defensive move, but hey, grandfather, I have bishop h4, attacking your queen right away, and as your queen moves, I played a brilliant move. Do you think I will protect my rook from being attacked by the knight? Noticing that I have an open bishop diagonal and the knight has good squares to go, I played another crucial move. Can my audience guess what I played in this position to defeat Houdini chess? Yes, I played bishop g5, leaving my rook under attack. He captured the rook, and it became quite clear that I now control the half-open g-file where my rook can move to the h2 square. Of course, many players might think of h6 on the board. That's your desire, right? Then I could easily sacrifice my bishop by capturing the pawn, and you cannot take it back because g7 will follow. After the king moves, my bishop retreats, and black must consider rook f5 because my bishop dominates the diagonal. The pawn is protecting the square where queen h4, followed by h7 and h8, can arrive on the board to checkmate. After the queen moves and all the exchanges occur, no matter what you play, rook to h2 will checkmate you. The position is just over. I won't show you further variations because you are capable of calculating this position. Alright, going back to the position, we discovered that playing h6 was a very bad choice. Grandfather scratched his head and captured the pawn on g6, and now, I played my 4000 elo brilliant move. Can you guess what I played in this position? I even have a series on 100 brilliant chess moves, and this game is included in that playlist. I played the brilliant move bishop f6, it's just impressive. After the capture and recapture, I can play rook h2 check, or I can even consider q takes g6, the position will be over for you. Grandfather played the best move, f captures here, and I captured the pawn on g6, threatening rook h2, which will lead to checkmate on the next move. After rook f7, I played another brilliant move. If you haven't found my previous brilliant moves, here's another chance. Try to think a little harder and drink some IQ juice to boost your brain power. The brilliant move is knight g5. What a spectacular move, attacking the rook. If you capture the knight, then rook h2 check, followed by rook takes h7, will lead to checkmate. The bishop's diagonal is open, the bishop is smoking in the garden and can lead to a checkmate. Going back to the position, we discovered that by playing knight g5, I opened up the bishop's diagonal, which would be devastating for you. After the rook moves, there's a queen check, the king moves, and I play bishop h7 check. You cannot capture the bishop because, after knight takes h7, it will lead to a discovered check by the rook. The position is just over. After king f8, I played yet another brilliant move. Can you guess what I played? I think you can't guess it because it's beyond your chess level. Your level is full of blunders and mistakes. You make a mistake, your opponent makes a mistake, then both of you realize your errors. Mistake after mistake, the game progresses. But here, I played knight takes e6. What a brilliant move, sacrificing the knight. If you capture it, I will easily take your rook. Also, the knight forks your pieces. Grandfather had no choice but to capture the knight. Then, after rook takes g7, I could play bishop g6 followed by queen h8, which would lead to a checkmate. Instead, he played queen h3, forcing my queen to capture, allowing him to capture the rook. After a couple of moves and repeated checks, I prevented a draw. I didn't want to let the oldest chess grandmaster escape, I wanted to defeat him. I played bishop e4, and after a few more moves, there was a check, the pawn was captured, and I played f7. If you move the king, I'll promote to a queen. That's why you had to capture, and I took the rook. The position was completely winning for me. After some more exchanges, I would eventually checkmate him. If you enjoyed the game, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Wishing you all the best. Bye bye, take care, and see you soon.